So welcome to those of you who have just joined us. My name is Lauren. My pronouns are she, her, and I would like to start today with a land acknowledgement. While you may be joining us from all over the world, today we are here in London, Ontario. We acknowledge the Anishinaabeg, Haudenosaunee, Lenape-Wauk, and the Tsuut'ina nations whose traditional lands we are gathered upon today. So welcome. We're so excited to have you here for our music night. Now, before I go through the itinerary for tonight, let's go through a few housekeeping items. First, we have enabled the live closed captioning for this webinar. If you'd like to turn it on, you'll find the live transcript button on the bottom bar. Then you can choose show subtitle. A box will appear and you can put it wherever you'd like on the screen. The other option is to choose view full transcript, and the transcript will pop up in a sidebar. Now, just remember, this is live closed captioning, so we actually can't guarantee the accuracy. Next, your audio and video will remain off, but that doesn't mean that we won't be interacting together. We will have polls throughout the event, and we will also try to answer all of your questions. You can submit a question using the Q&A box, and you'll find this at the bottom of your screen. You can enter questions now or whenever you think of them. I'm joined by lots of friends from Western tonight, staff, faculty, students, and we will do our best to answer your questions as they come up. We're also going to choose some common questions and answer them together at the end. So, what is happening tonight? Well, here you go. We're going to start with a faculty welcome with Dr. John Kucherin. Then we'll play a short performance video for you to enjoy. Following that will be a program overview. And after that, we're going to let our students take over for a panel to let you know what it's really like at Western. Finally, we'll all join together at the end to answer some questions live. I do want to remind you that we have lots of other presentations available for you to sign up for. We have our next steps presentation coming up on April 12th, and you can sign up for that or watch the recording after it's been posted to our website. This is a really helpful presentation for everyone to understand what it is they need to do before coming to Western. We also have presentations about our other faculties, residents, and student experience that you can check out. Everything is through the same webpage you used to sign up for this presentation, welcome.uwo.ca/presentations. Now, to kick things off, I'd like to introduce Dr. John Kucherin, Associate Dean of Undergraduate Admissions and Programs and Associate Professor of Music Theory.
Hello and welcome to Western Virtually Speaking. We're delighted to have you with us tonight. We hope to share with you some insights into what the program is like, or the programs, because we have 17 of them, and you may all have a different goal in mind. At the end, we have several, I think 5 or 6 students with us tonight who are in the programs now, and they can tell you in much better terms than I can what it's like to be a student at Western and how to succeed at Western. If you have questions, there will be an opportunity at the end of the presentation later for you to ask them. So without further ado, thank you for coming, and I look forward to hearing your questions at the end. Back to you, Lauren.
All right, we're going to jump right into our next item, which is our short performance video from October 22nd, 2021. Right. I would like to ask Dr. Kucherin back to the call to provide a program overview now for the Faculty of Music.
Thanks, Lauren. I'm going to share my screen, and with any luck, you get to see the PowerPoints. Oh, how do I get this to go? There we go. So I assume everybody can see the Welcome to the Don Wright Faculty of Music screen.
Yes, you're good.
Okay, thank you. So for reasons that aren't clear to me, I can't advance the screen. There we go. So we have, oh, let me start with this picture. This is our Von Custer Performance Hall in the new music building. When I say new, it's a relative term. It's new to us. It opened in 2018, and it is one of the two buildings. If we go back to this picture, it is in the foreground of this picture. You'll see another picture of the building later with the other half of our facility showcase. So, but this is the new music building wing that you can see in the foreground here. Von Custer Hall is one of our 3 performance spaces. We have in the new music building approximately 90 practice rooms and rehearsal spaces, about 135 pianos at the moment. We have one of North America's best music libraries, including the Gustav Mahler collection and the Alfred Rosé collection. We have high definition video and audio recording with streaming capabilities, a string instrument bank of fine instruments and bows. Excuse me 1 second. We have the new concert hall, the Von Custer Hall, seats 232. In the old building, relatively speaking, but recently renovated space is the Paul Davenport Theater, our larger theater, which seats 400. And you'll see a slide of that space coming up. You also saw that space in the video that preceded this presentation. Finally, we have a small black box style recital hall called Studio 242. It seats 48 and it's used primarily for small intimate chamber type performances. Lastly, we have the electronic composition and recording facilities. These include the CHIRP Lab, which stands for Composition and Electroacoustic Research and Performance Facility, the Interdisciplinary Media Center Lab, which is a series of workstations used by our popular music students. And finally, not listed here, is the RAP Studio, RAP, which is also a facility used by our popular music students. And you'll see a little later in the presentation a picture of the recording console from that particular space. Here's the other picture of the buildings I promised you. So the music building is off to the right. To the left, the older looking building is Talbot College, which is also entirely music now. And off in the distance, you can see downtown London if you've never been to downtown London. I'll also point out that it is difficult without a drone to get a picture of the roof of the building. So this might be the only opportunity you have to ever see the roof of the building. Okay, we offer within the Faculty of Music 2 types of programs: Bachelor of Music programs and Bachelor of Arts programs. In the Bachelor of Music programs, you receive private lessons and perform in a large ensemble for 2 to 4 years, depending on the program. And you take roughly 4 to 5 courses out of your 20 courses in a faculty other than music. In the Bachelor of Arts programs, there are no private lessons or ensemble required. However, lessons may be elected with an extra fee, and ensembles are open to all students on campus by audition. So even if you don't take lessons, you could still possibly perform in an ensemble. And of the 20 or so credits that you would take for your undergraduate degree, 9 to 12 of those courses are outside of music for the Bachelor of Arts programs. Moving on. The Bachelor of Music will focus on, in isolation for a moment, consists of a common first year that all students take, followed by, in years 2, 3, and 4, one of 5 broadly speaking, individual tracks. The Bachelor of Music Honors Music Composition, Bachelor of Music Honors Music Education, 3 different performance tracks, one in piano, one in voice, one in orchestral instruments, a music research track, which includes history and theory, and then 2 different general Bachelor of Music programs, one honors and one non-honors. The primary difference between the 2 has to do with grade point average distinctions and a couple of other academic requirements. For your common first year, if you're wondering what courses will I take in my first year, you will take 2 semesters of music theory, 2 semesters of music history, 2 semesters of integrated musicianship. That includes sight singing, ear training, and keyboard harmony. You will take your studio lesson for the entire year. You will take 1 large ensemble for the entire year, although in rare instances, students can perform in more than 1 ensemble. You might do half the year in 1 ensemble and half in a different ensemble, or you might have some other arrangement. It varies from student to student and from instrument to instrument. And you will have a single semester course in one of Intro to Composition, Intro to Popular Music and Culture, or Teaching and Learning Music. Now, if you want, for instance, music education, you'll want that half course to be Teaching and Learning Music, because that's a prerequisite for that program. If you want to specialize in popular music, you will want to take the Intro to Pop Music and Culture. So there's a little bit of strategy required in deciding which of those 3 courses to take. And the good news is we have wonderful academic counseling facilities and staff here who will walk you through that when the time comes to help you pick the course that's best suited to your needs. Then lastly, you'll take a single semester course from any faculty, including music if you wish, and a single semester half course from a faculty outside of music. Again, I mentioned music education once already. If you are also interested in music education, your half course from any faculty should be in the same subject area as the half course from the faculty other than music, because you will need to bank those courses to use as your second teachable subject area. Again, academic counselors will help you pick the right courses to make sure you have what you need. For the Bachelor of Arts stream, there are 3 primary pathways you can go: the major or honor specialization in music, the major in popular music studies, and the specialization in music administrative studies. Now, in the major in music or the honor specialization in music, the focus is on Western art music, and it's the academic study of music. However, the difference between a major and a specialization or an honor specialization has to do with the number of courses within the subject area. A major is typically 6 courses in the subject area between years 2 and 4, and a specialization is between 9 and 11 courses. I believe our honor specialization in music is 9 courses within the subject area of music. For the major in popular music studies, 6 of the courses will be in popular music studies related subjects in the years 2 through 4. And for the specialization in music administrative studies, that's a blended module between music and the Dan Management School, specifically the MOS program, Management and Organizational Sciences program. In that program, most of the courses are prescribed for you, but you do have some flexibility as to whether you focus on Western art music courses or popular music courses within that specialization. Again, all of these programs start in second year. There are some first year courses you are required to take. I'm going to go back to the previous slide for a moment. You are required to take Music Theory 1 and 2 in your first year. You're required to take Music History 1 in your first year. And depending on whether you go into the pop program or the pop stream of the MAS program, you would take the Intro to Popular Music and Culture. If you're going into the major or honor specialization in music or the Western art music stream of the MAS program, you would take Music History 2. So you'll notice there's a lot of overlap here between all of the programs in first year. You come into the program as a cohort, and that develops a real sense of community among our students. So even if you're in different programs, radically different programs, you still are in classes with all students in all music programs. And that's an important distinction that Western offers. We also have a new major in creative arts production, affectionately known around Western as the CAP program. It's a unique student-centered program focusing on creativity, creative practice, and collaboration, offered jointly by our faculty, the Faculty of Arts and Humanities, and the Faculty of Information and Media Studies. When I say new, this is literally hot off the presses. The program takes effect on September 1st, 2022. So it was just approved by the province a couple of months ago, and we are welcoming the first class. Now, like all modules or majors at Western, it starts in second year as well. The distinction between the major in CAP and all of the other majors that I've described, this major must be taken alongside another major. It can't be taken by itself. So in music, you could pair this program with the Bachelor of Arts program in music or the Bachelor of Arts program in popular music studies. It may not, however, be paired with the Bachelor of Music program. And that has to do with the nature of the modular system. The modular system will allow for double majors. It will allow for a major and two minors, but it will not allow for a professional program and a major without getting outside the 20 credit limit. And that again is because 15 of the 20 credits in the Bachelor of Music are going to be roughly from the subject area of music. So moving forward, if I can get back to this, sorry. We also have 3 minors. I think all of the attendees today are applying for music as their subject area, so I'm not going to focus on minors unless you want a dance minor, talk to us afterwards. This is the recording console in the rap studio. I noticed at least one of you is interested in the popular music program. This is one of the facilities that's available to you. We also offer combined degree programs in the music recording arts and business and music. Specifically, the music recording arts combines our BMUS General with an MIA diploma from Fanshawe in 5 years rather than 6. And our business and music program combines an IV Honors Business Administration or HBA with a BMUS or a BA in music. And again, you graduate in 5 years rather than 6 if you took them independently. And in both of these programs, when you graduate, you get 2 parchments. You have 2 diplomas to show for your efforts. We also offer concurrent degrees. In this configuration, you can do 2 complete degrees, a Bachelor of Music and a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, for example, or a Bachelor of Music and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Normally, it would take you 8 years if you did the 2 programs separately. I personally did that as an undergrad, 2 separate degrees back to back, and spent 8 years as an undergrad. However, because of Western's policies on allowing for double crediting, you can finish this in 30 rather than 40 credits. So you can get it down to 6. And if you double up with a little bit of overloading and some summer courses, you can actually finish it in 5. And one recent success story was a student who completed the Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences, I believe, or Earth Sciences perhaps, and the Bachelor of Music program, graduated in both programs with the University Gold Medal for the highest GPA in the 2 programs respectively, and completed it in roughly 5 years. That student is now working on a PhD in music theory. So yay, I'm a music theorist. Here is again another photo of our Paul Davenport Theater that you saw in the intro video. I'm not going to talk about this because my understanding looking at the attendee list is that you have all gone through the application and audition process already, so we'll skip that. Funding opportunities. This is my opportunity to invite you, the attendees, to reach out to me. We have a number of different types of awards. If you've already received your email from me, which I know you have, that stipulates the award that's there, and you feel that you would like to talk about other needs that you have, or if you have other offers that you wish to share with me, by all means, reach out to me by email and we'll set up an opportunity to speak by Zoom or by phone. I am willing to work with you to make it possible for you to come to Western if that's necessary for you to feel comfortable with your decision. So that is it for the awards. That brings us to my final slide, which is to remain in touch, and all of our necessary links are provided here. I assume many of you will already know where these websites are, but if you don't, here they are. So thank you for your attention, and I will return the floor to Lauren as soon as I figured out how to stop my share. There we go.
Thank you, Dr. Kucherin. And now I would like to introduce Sasha Gorbaso, who is the Student Recruitment Coordinator for Music, and will introduce our student panel.
Thank you, Lauren. Good evening, everyone. Great to be with you tonight. We have a wonderful student body at the Don Wright Faculty of Music. Our students are probably the best students at Western, I think, just because they're very passionate about music, what they do, and they're very much community people. And we've hosted many Zoom events throughout the year, and we always get a lot of great participation from our current students. So what I thought I would do is just kind of introduce the students one by one, and maybe they could each say a little bit about themselves, where they're from, what instrument they play, their program. So I'd like to start off with Lauren Jarman. Lauren, can you say hello and maybe give a quick word of introduction and where you're from, what program you're in?
Yeah, hi everybody. So my name is Lauren. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm in my 4th year of a music education program, and my primary instrument is the oboe.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. And next we have Roma McDonald.
Hi,
Roma.
I'm Roma. My pronouns are she, her. I'm currently in 1st year, and next year I will officially be in pop music, and my instrument is voice.
Thank you, Roma. And we have Michael Haig, who's also a 1st year student.
Hello. It's actually Michael Heggie, but it's fine. So I'm
Sorry about that.
It's all good. I'm Michael. I'm a 1st year going into education next year. I play the euphonium. Not many of us do that these days. And then I'm from Burlington, which is right outside Toronto.
Great. Thank you, Michael. And last but not least, we have Maitland Tassos, who plays the best instrument, I think.
Yes. Hello, my name is Maitland. I'm in my 3rd year of music education, and I play French horn.
Thanks, Maitland. And Maitland, you're also involved as a student ambassador as well. So there's a lot of opportunities to get involved in student leadership. Also, Lauren is just the outgoing president of the Faculty of Music Students Council. Roma, are you involved in student council as a 1st year, or am I mistaken?
Yes, I'm actually wearing my sweater right now. I was this year's secretary, and I'll be next year's speaker.
Excellent. Yeah. And Lauren, can you say a few words about kind of getting involved in student government and student leadership? Our students are, we have many students who are involved in many ways, and I think it's important to know that there's these leadership opportunities.
Yeah, so one of the unique things about music students in particular and the way our student government works is that we have a few different student government bodies. So we have a Music Education Students Association, we have Choir Council, we've got kind of the main Faculty of Music Students Council. We also have a division of SNATS, which is the Students National Association of Teachers of Singing, I think, as well as a Faculty of Music Indigenous Leadership Initiative. So we have a lot of different really cool just kind of council opportunities. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out. We do have a social media. I can put it in the chat for everyone. It's at FOMPS Western. And from there, you can kind of find all the other programs as well. But it's a great way to get involved if you're interested in hosting events, if you're interested in advocacy initiatives, if you just want to get to know your peers a little bit better. It's a really great opportunity, and I highly encourage you all to get involved if that's something you're interested in.
Great. Thanks, Lauren. And you're moving on to another position next year, right? At a larger
Yeah.
level. Sorry, I'm letting the cat out of the bag here, but
No, absolutely.
you want to maybe
Yeah.
let people know what you're doing next year? It's pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm going to be the Vice President of University Affairs at the University Students' Council. So each faculty has their own council, and the University Students' Council kind of oversees everything. But I'll be doing that all year. So even though I'm graduating, I will still be around. Yeah, and I'll be doing just kind of a lot of advocacy work and working full time in that position, which I'm super excited about.
Great. And I've heard a rumor that Western has the largest student government in Canada, or the biggest budget, or something crazy like that, out of all universities. So it's kind of a big deal. So I mean, if leadership is important for up and coming students, there's a lot of great opportunities there to kind of just to develop your leadership skills. I heard this was a while back that the USC has a budget of like 23 million or something crazy like that. Is that a complete fabrication, or is that true?
Higher than that,
A little higher?
actually. Yeah, so the USC oversees basically all sorts of like student leadership initiatives. We oversee all the clubs programs. And so we run a budget of about, I think, 32 million. I'm on the governance and finance standing committee. So we have a pretty big budget, but it's all goes kind of back into students and like student support. There's a bunch of peer support programs that the USC offers. So truly, if you're interested in any sort of student government or clubs or particular interests you have, there is a club for it, there's a council for it. You will be able to find that at Western. And I think that's a really unique opportunity because, oh, I'm so sorry, there's honking in the background. I've spoken to students from other universities, and I think that their student council are still wonderful, but they don't get involved in quite the same way. But I know that the University Students Council is really involved, and FOMSC is fantastic. I've been on it for 3 years now. And I am just so happy that I got to be involved again this year, and that I got to see so many wonderful folks join and get involved at the faculty level as well.
Great, thanks, Lauren. And there's a very another special person here from the music faculty that you all have to get to know. Her name is Diane Mills, and she is our student academic counselor. There she is.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
hello.
So Diane's going to be very important to all of you after you come for SAO and onwards. So Diane takes care of students. I'm sure all of our current students would agree that she helps keep everyone on the rails. And yeah, she's very, looks after people and makes sure that you're in the right program, taking the right courses, because music can be a little bit complicated and it can be tricky with timetabling. So Diane is amazing to keep people on the, keep everyone in the courses they need to be in, and just for counseling of all different kinds, academic and just checking in and all that sort of thing. So I see
Sasha
a couple
in line too. I keep Sasha.
Yeah, that's right. I need to be kept in line. It was funny, we were talking about rodeos and stuff at the beginning of the session, and just before the students came on. I kind of refer to myself as the rodeo clown for the Faculty of Music. I get kind of thrown into danger's way as things get a little bit hairy. So, but Diane always brings me back to reality. So that's an important relationship. Very humorous for our students. So I see some of our students look like they're zooming in from their residence rooms. Our first year students, Michael and Roma. Michael, are you in residence right now? Maybe you could talk about your residence experience.
I am, yeah. I'm in my dorm in Delaware Hall. I'm not gonna show the rest of it because it's just so messy. But this part's fine. Yeah, living residence is pretty cool, I think, especially being in Delaware Hall because it's right across the street from Talbot College, which is good for like a lot of reasons because it's like a 2-minute walk to class every morning. And then we also, if I want to like practice really late at night, I can just walk over. So it's been pretty good. Yeah, you get to meet a lot of people. You don't have to make food yourself. It's some pretty good perks.
You can develop your life skills.
Yeah, yeah.
And Roma, how about you? Are you in Delaware as well, or are you in a different residence?
I am. I'm also in Delaware, and I completely agree. It's so convenient, and it's also great. I'm a pop student, so I do spend most days of the week I'm in Talbot, but a lot of the time I'm also walking up the hill and going to other classes. So it's really nice too, because Delaware is very central to everything. So even if you're taking a class that's not in the faculty, it's really convenient. And Delaware is also very nice because I believe a few years ago, before we got here, it was under construction. I that's what I've heard. It was renovated, and I think that explains why it's so nice. I think it's the nicest res building I've been in Western, and it also has a music floor, which is amazing. I'm not on the music floor. Michael, are you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, which is super fun because you can be on a floor that's entirely music students, but even if you're not, you still there's still across from me as a music student because it's so close. A lot of music students gravitate towards Delaware, and also on every floor there's a practice room with a piano. So it's, if you don't want to walk to Talbot or to walk to kind of MB, you're still so close if you need to practice.
Great. And Maitland, you're in Ontario Hall. So have you been in residence for each year here? Okay, so which residences were you in before?
So my first year I was in MedSyd, and last year I worked as a Don in MedSyd, and then this year I'm working as a Don in Ontario Hall, and next year I'll be in London Hall.
Oh, wow. Making the rounds.
Yep.
That's great. Do you notice a big difference between the residences, kind of culturally or anything?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So I guess as a Don, you kind of get a different perspective, but it's also another great way to kind of get involved. You're able to work a full-time job and also be a student, which is really nice. But yes, definitely. I loved being in traditional first year. I initially wanted to be in a suite hybrid style, that was my preference. But I was placed in traditional and I had so much fun. I was lucky enough to have a bunch of music students on my floor. I wasn't on a music floor, but the sense of community that the traditional style building had was just so much fun, so incredible. Met so many really good friends that way, because I didn't come into Western knowing a bunch of people. So I think living in residence and really just putting yourself out there and meeting people, it was really awesome.
So it's safe to say that there's a real diversity of residence experiences available to students based on what you've said and just the number of residences we have. I think a lot of people think that the residence experience is just kind of one thing and it's the same for everybody. But I don't think that's really the case from what I'm hearing. So you've got your traditional, your private room, your suite style. So living arrangements are different, but also the types of floors. You could be on a music floor, you can be on a healthy living floor, and other kinds of things. So what's your, as a Don, I mean, what do people gravitate towards certain things, or is it just kind of a mixed bag with students?
As to where they prefer living, or?
Yeah, what do people prefer, and has, how does that change from year to year, or is it pretty consistent? Mainly students want to,
what is students want to
go for, yeah.
Sorry,
I guess that's another important point.
Sorry.
Yeah, what is a residence Don for the people that don't know?
Also kind of known as a residence advisor, basically just an upper year who lives on the floor and kind of manages, holds meetings, is just another support for all of the students on the floor. So if you have any questions about anything, we're usually the people you come to. And as for living style, I'm not sure. I feel like a lot of people really love the traditional style because that's the traditional university experience and you get to really meet people. But if you're someone who prefers maybe a quieter place, one of the suite or hybrid styles could be great for that. I guess it really depends on the group of students, but I'm sure it's great living everywhere, being in different buildings. I've honestly loved it. I'm continuing the job next year, so safe to say I love residence.
And Maitland, you're active in skating as well outside of music. So maybe you can talk about some of those activities, extracurricular things, clubs.
Oh, yes. So I'm on MESA, that's been wonderful. That's the Music Education Students Association. So if you see the posts on Instagram, it's most likely me posting them. So that's been a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm involved in a varsity sport. So I'm on the figure skating team. Very early practices in the morning. Happy the season is over for the year because 6:30 a.m. practices are not fun, but it's been pretty interesting kind of balancing a job, extracurriculars, and being a music student because we do have a pretty heavy course load with the 7.0 credits, but honestly, the community and everybody I've met has been so supportive, and balancing it has been really good. But there are so many opportunities on campus to get involved, whether it's sports, clubs, student council. Yeah, there's a ton of opportunities.
Awesome. Thanks, Maitland. I want to go back to Roma and ask you a couple of questions as a BA student. I know with the Bachelor of Music students, a lot of the first year courses are prescribed, and you do have a bit of flexibility on your electives, but maybe tell us about some of the courses you're taking in addition to the intro to pop, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. So being in popular music studies, my first year, kind of in first semester, I had, as it was mentioned before, theory 1, and then you also take music history. And then, so those are kind of like your 2 main music courses, and then you have 3 other spaces to fill. And you have your breadth requirements, which are Diane helps a lot with. Diane in the summer really helped me out with figuring it all out because it can be a little daunting at first. But you basically, being in a BA, you have certain categories that you have to fill that you wouldn't necessarily have to fill in the same way when you're in a BMUS, when you're doing the music, not BA. And so I took MIT, which is Media Information and Technoculture, which is a part of the FIMS, which is one of the faculties that's connected through the CAP program that was mentioned before. So it's a really interesting course. And then I also took Creative Arts, which is another part of the CAP program. Yes, thank you, Lauren, for the little acronym there. Western has so many crazy acronyms. You kind of learn to navigate it. And then I also took film, which, being a pop student, you have the flexibility to take, I believe it's, Dan can correct me, but I think it was World Lit or film. You can basically take English or a film course.
Absolutely right. Yeah, World Lit, film, or English. You got it.
Yeah, amazing. And so I chose to take film, which I really enjoyed because I think it's a cool way to kind of look in it through the lens of a music student, because you can also kind of pick up on things that I think music and film, they were kind of integrated a lot through like both the MIT, the film, and then in second semester, I was able to take my intro to pop along with theory 2 and environmental science. I think that's covering all of the bases there. I think those are all my courses, but you get a kind of nice variety. It's kind of interesting as a pop student. You can kind of shape your schedule and your courses to kind of reflect the things that you're interested in. Like, I didn't necessarily have to take MIT. I know a pop student that took GIM, which is General Integrated Musicianship. I believe that's correct. Which you don't need to take as a pop student, but it's kind of a nice perspective. I didn't take it, but I kind of wish I did, because I think you learn a lot of really useful skills there. As it was mentioned before, things like ear training, that's kind of important for all aspects of being a musician. Yeah.
So Roma, you mentioned that you were a singer as well.
Yeah.
So do you do songwriting? Kind of, what's your kind of specialty in the pop area? What drew you to the pop program?
Ooh,
in particular?
I have always loved music, and in high school I was a part of the vocal program, so I was in choir and I kind of did a little bit of classical music, but I think I've always really been drawn to pop because I play a bunch of instruments as well. Like, I like to sing while I play piano, guitar, or my ukulele. And one of the things that really drew me to the pop program is the songwriting, because I like to write songs, but I wouldn't say that I'm a good songwriter yet. So you never know, I'm excited to grow my skills. And I think that was something that really interested me as well, especially because in pop, I believe, I don't know if it starts, Diane, you could correct me. I think there are some desktop production courses in second
Second
year.
year, yes, there's
Yeah.
one you can take in second year, and songwriting, we'd have to check. You might be able to take that in second or third and fourth. And
Yeah.
and there's like a mixing and mastering course. There are other courses that you can take in pop in your upper years, but first year you just have the half course that you're in right now.
Yeah.
Friday, anyway.
You get a nice kind of background in first year with the pop course. You kind of talk about a whole bunch of aspects of popular music, and then you kind of like Diane just mentioned, in second year you get to do some desktop production, and you can kind of with the pop program you have a little bit of more flexibility because a lot of them don't have the necessary like prerequisites, so you can kind of, Diane will be able to help you kind of work it out in the way depending on what year you're taking the courses. But I was also I love working in GarageBand, but I kind of wanted to go to the next level, which is why the pop program really drew me in.
Roma, if I can just jump in here for a moment.
Yeah, of
The
course.
pop songwriting class is a 3,000 level class, and it has the desktop production courses as a prerequisite, so you can't take it till third year. We also have a fourth year songwriting class that you can continue with songwriting. But the plug I wanted to put in was that the current person who has been teaching songwriting for us for the past several years is a gentleman by the name of Bob Wiseman, who was a founding member of the Canadian band Blue Rodeo. And Bob Wiseman is currently working on a PhD himself in creative thinking and creative production. And Bob Wiseman is exceptionally well connected in the industry to the point where he has been Zooming his class into recording studios in Los Angeles with bands like the Foo Fighters while they're recording an album. So right to the studio floor during the production of an album, he's able to get his students into those classes or into those spaces and interact with the performers at the time they're recording this stuff. So Bob Wiseman is a hidden jewel, and we hope to never lose him. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to have somebody of that level of connectedness in the industry helping our students.
Thanks, John. That's a great point. Yeah, and we even have Jay, who's who teaches the mixing and mastering and a lot of the production stuff. He's an active producer. He works with people around the world, all kinds of artists. So you're kind of getting these connections with people that will last beyond your student years at Western, and then these will become professional relationships that will go on after Western. And the same goes for Bachelor of Music students. If you're in education or performance, the musical world is a small world, and we're young musicians at Western, just kind of getting started. And Diane and I both did the undergrad degree at Western and Bachelor of Music, and I'm in touch with people that I was students with even now, kind of in professional settings. I play French horn in orchestra. Always bumping into people that went to school with in different settings, different places. Composers, people that were getting into composition, things like that. So it's really interesting to see how these friendships develop into professional relationships. So, and in the pop music, just to finish off, Roma, I know that you're more of a singer-songwriter, but there's people in pop music that have different interests and come at it from a different angle. Like I know that some people just do beats and maybe laptop stuff, music creation. They don't necessarily sing or play a more traditional instrument like bass guitar or drums or sing, but they're creating music electronically and they bring that talent to the table. Or some people are interested in the cultural side of popular music and more the academic thing. And that's something that Norma Coates, one of our instructors, teaches, just how pop music fits into popular culture and how both kind of affect each other. So I don't know if you'll be able to explore those a little deeper as you get into the program, but I'm sure you met some students that maybe come at it from a different angle already, potentially.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's I just had Professor Coates, we had our last class today, and I think that class was super interesting because I feel like you don't often, at least in high school, I never had the opportunity to kind of talk about pop in a more academic way rather than, you kind of like I would sing in high school and you would talk and in first semester you kind of get the opportunity to learn a lot about classical music history, which I think is a really cool foundation to have even for pop. And then to go in to second semester in the pop course, and I just think it was one of, I think, the most engaging courses I've taken yet, because it's so interesting to really talk and engage. Since it's a very small class, there's like under 30 of us, I think, you're able to really spend a lot of your time talking and sharing examples, and you see how everyone comes from it at a different angle, because they either are more of a like into record, like producing and making beats, or if they're a different instrument that's not voice. So I think it's a really interesting way to kind of talk and learn about different aspects of music, and you kind of get a nice basis for things that will come in other years. Sorry, the hallway is a little loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but so yeah, I recommend that even if you're not in pop, that intro to pop, I think it's called Intro to Pop 1730. It was a really interesting and fun course to take.
Cool.
Intro to Pop
Thanks.
Music and Culture. I referred to it twice in my slideshow.
Yeah. Thanks, Roma. That's great. Michael, I just wanted to ask you, as a first-year student, you're in the Bachelor of Music program. What's your non-music elective that you're taking?
My non-music elective is I took English, and I'm planning to do a minor in English.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So are you planning to go into the music ed stream, or are you still unsure, or what are
Yeah,
your
I'm planning
plans?
to go into the music ed minor in English, and that's gonna be my second
Great.
teachable. Yeah.
Looks like Lauren might be in the same boat there.
I just love music.
Were you just cheering him on? Yeah.
Yeah, I was cheering him on for music education.
Okay, but you took French, right? Is French your?
I did take French, yeah.
Okay, so is that your second teachable in music ed? Or...
It is my second teachable. I'm looking to do a master's in music education,
right.
So I've been taking mostly French literature courses, which have been really fun. The French department here is really, really great. And I think it's just a much different environment than elementary and high school French. It's really cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Who's in the marching band? Anybody in the marching band?
Oh yeah. Got my little jacket here. Yes, that's
what's the deal with the marching band?
That's another extracurricular you can do. It's not like a faculty of music thing. It's an extracurricular. It's like a sport or a club. But I really love it personally because it's a great way to kind of play music, play your instrument outside of a classical setting or outside of like an academic setting. You know, we played all the football games. Last semester, the marching band actually went with the football team to Quebec for the national like football final championship thing or whatever. You know, great way to meet people outside your program for like all kinds of years. Like a lot of people in my section got from first years to like law graduate students. Anyone can join. You don't need to have a whole lot of experience or any even. It's just, you know, it's something that's really fun to do music outside of a kind of like an academic setting.
Anybody watched the 2019 Junos? You would have seen the Western Marching Band because they opened the show. The opening act was Loud Luxury, and half of that group is a Western pop music grad. So yeah, if anyone was tuning in, that's already going back 3 years now. I can't believe it, but that was a proud moment for our Western Marching Band. So it's actually run like a club. Is that correct, Michael?
Yeah, under the direction of Quinn Fleming, who was also a music student here at one point. Great guy. And to answer Roma's question, we could always use more of everything. Highly encouraged.
Symbols.
Yeah, so it's run like a club. It is a time commitment. During first semester we practice 3 times a week. But yeah, and it's really fun. I love it. It's like my favorite part of the week.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael, for sharing that. So I wonder if there's any questions from our guests today. If there's any burning questions, or if you want to ask a particular question of one of our current students. This would be a great time just to chat and just ask about people's experiences. So we got a question from Hillary. Hello, first I want to say thank you for hosting this webinar. I've learned a lot. I've been admitted into Bachelor of Music with my instrument as piano. Would you be able to name who would be my professor for studio lessons? Do we get to choose our professor for studio lessons? Diane, would you like to maybe talk about this a little bit?
Sure, sure. We don't know yet who your teacher will be. Your teacher will be assigned sometime in the summer, and then you might be notified. Perhaps they might contact you in August, or certainly by the time you come in September, there will be lists of who's studying with which teacher. If you have a teacher preference, usually Odila sends a note out about that and asks you to submit your teacher preference, and then we try and match you with that person if you know who it is. If you have no idea who you'd like to study with, and you'd like to know who teaches at Western, please contact Sasha, probably is the best person to do, or Odila, actually. I can put Odila's email in afterwards. I'll put it in the chat, because Odila would pass that information on, your teacher request, or she could send you a list of who our teachers are for this year. Thanks.
I'll jump in there. Odila will send out the email in June after the OUX system closes. So you expect an email from Odila on this matter. And she will include a list of who the studio instructors in your area are from which to select. But in addition, everyone who's attending today has received a notice from me, and that notice from me was titled Your Western Music Audition or something to that effect. Odila was CC'd on that email, so you all have Odila's email because of that. In addition, Odila was the one who set up your audition or interview for you. So you've been in touch with Odila before, whether you were aware of that or not. Odila makes a lot of things happen at this stage for you. So that's a good person to remember in the back of your mind if you have questions. She may be able to help you immediately.
So John, there's a question in the chat from Lillian. I'm wondering what it's like to do an exchange if I'll be in a popular music studies program.
Okay, can you, Lillian in the chat, can you expand a little bit more what you mean by exchange? Are you talking about going to a foreign institution like the Sorbonne, or are you talking about going to another school in Canada? I'm just curious what you are thinking about. And for a semester or just one course? Let's see, I see absolutely, but I asked and I'm not sure what she was absolutelying to. I suspect she's typing now. So let's assume while she's thinking about this, yes, I'd like to do an exchange for Korea for a semester. Terrific. Okay, so an entire semester in a foreign institution requires a letter of permission from us to be able to study at that school and acceptance at that school. Diane would be instrumental in helping arrange that. We normally do that in second, third, or fourth year. It's rare to do an exchange in first year. I don't think it can be done, in fact. So Diane,
usually in third year. Most of the exchanges are in third year, just so you know.
When you're on exchange, we would work out with the other institution which credits would transfer directly as substitutes for credits that you would have done as part of your program in music. And if there are courses that do not transfer directly, we will work out how to give you credit for them so that it benefits you. And I think, let me go back, you're in the POP program, so you have a lot of flexibility with respect to required courses and electives. And if you happen to take a number of courses in Korea that are not directly transferable to the pop music major, they could easily be applied as the electives for your non-pop music courses. So yes, there are lots of ways to make this work for you. And Western is, or regards internationalization as one of the strategic pillars of the direction the university would like to go. And the importance of an international education is becoming more and more prevalent in the thinking of our senior administration, which is to say, you'll notice a number of the automatic entrance awards that students are eligible for come with some funding for international study abroad travel. So that's precisely the type of experience that we want students to take advantage of. So yeah, we are entirely supportive of study abroad opportunities, and we would like to make those happen for you if possible. Did that answer the question? I see somebody else put something in the chat.
Hillary has
Yeah,
a question about auditioning for performance, I think. And
Aha.
yes, you do audition for second year. You can audition at the end of first year or the end of second year to get into an honors performance program. So there's 2 windows to do it. You kind of discuss it with your teacher, decide if you're ready to do the audition. And our auditions, I think this year, I think they're 18th, 19th of April, something like that. And you do it right after your jury, and you do, which is your playing exam for your lessons. And you can use the same repertoire. So it's not like you have to learn different repertoire for within a few days of your playing jury, your big playing test at the end of the year. So yes, you audition at the end of first year or second year.
So there's a question from Aninjo. Can I learn a secondary instrument from the same family? Is there a chance to focus on a particular musical period, say Baroque or Renaissance, perhaps in the upper year, and prepare repertoire accordingly? Also, what kind of jobs do students have on campus? So, and you play piano. So there is something called the Early Music Studio, which is an ensemble. Is it a chorus or an ensemble, John? You'll have to
It's a
clarify
chorus.
that for me.
It's
a
not,
chorus.
but
It's a
both.
course.
But students can't take it as a course currently. Usually students take it
Okay.
as, sorry, they take it as a course and not their
Take it
own.
as a course, a semestered course, but it is also a large ensemble. And occasionally students take it as the large ensemble, but most students take it as the course.
Okay. So as a pianist, there would be an opportunity to play harpsichord. We do have a striker piano, period piano. So we do have instruments, period instruments, strings, keyboards, woodwinds, believe it or not. And through the Early Music Studio, you would have opportunities to explore some of that repertoire. As far as learning a secondary instrument from the same family, I guess that's as far as it would go in piano. You would still be taking your regular one-on-one lessons on a traditional piano. So it would be in addition to your regular lessons, not instead of. Hopefully I'm understanding your question correctly. But that's true of other instruments as well. We do have period instruments. So if people wanted to explore early music, those opportunities are available to them. And we do have a contemporary music course and ensemble. So for contemporary music, there's those opportunities as well. So there's a wide range of styles and ensemble opportunities you can explore.
There's also a course at the 1000 level, but students above the 1000 level take it, called historical keyboard, that allows students access to Baroque and Renaissance style keyboard performance as well.
Okay, great. And the other part of your question was about what kind of jobs do students have on campus? So Maitland is a residence Don. That's a great job to have. I don't know if Roma or Michael, if you guys have jobs, part-time jobs right now. Typically not for first-year students, but maybe you guys are not typical students. I don't know.
I specifically don't, but I do have like a few friends also in music who do. Like one of my friends like just works at the mall, kind of just down the road from Western. So that's pretty common. I've heard some upper years, like there's jobs available like the bookstore, the Spoke, which is a restaurant here on campus, UCC. So there's a lot of options, I think.
Maitland works as a student ambassador in addition to being a residence Don. So what sort of hours does the student ambassador job look like? How does that work?
It's really great. I get to do it pretty much all virtually. So there's a platform called Unibuddy, and prospective students can send in their questions, anything about Western. There's a bunch of people in different programs who are able to kind of answer any questions you may have about student life, the school, courses, anything like that.
Great, thanks, Maitland. We also have a work-study program. So it's for students in second year and up. Western encourages first-year students not to take on an extra job just because they're adjusting to the workload, and we want you to be successful in your first year. But starting in second year, you can apply for work-study, and those are campus jobs. At the music faculty, we have a number of different opportunities. Myself, I hire work-study students to help with recruitment and audition days and special events. We have opportunities for stage management and concert helping with concerts, handing out programs, helping backstage if you want to get some experience being a stage manager. If you're into sound recording, our sound recording engineer hires a number of work-study students to help record concerts. We present over 350 concerts a year. So there's a lot of need for people to record them and capture recitals and ensemble concerts. So you can learn about recording and make some money at the same time. Opportunities in the library, all kinds of different things in music, and just on campus in general. And those are posted. Those are need-based. So you do have to do an application to be eligible for work-study jobs, but they're typically 5 to 10 hours a week. They discourage people from doing more than 10 hours a week because Western really wants you to focus on your studies. But those are opportunities on campus. And as Michael mentioned, campus is close to a mall. There's plenty of restaurants around and other work opportunities. So I know a lot of students that do a variety of different types of jobs. So those opportunities are available on and off campus.
There was
Any
a
other
question.
questions?
Kate just answered it in the chat from Lillian about the expense. Thanks, Kate, for entering that. And it's true. Yeah, students, that's the wonderful thing about exchange. You're not like an international student paying international fees to another institution in another country. So Kate's posted some very good information about that.
Great. So I see we've reached the 8:03 hour. So an hour goes by when you're having fun pretty quickly. Are there any other questions from our guests tonight, or just anything our current students want to add about their experience or advice, encouragement, etc.? Any words of wisdom, Maitland? As an ambassador and a Don, you've seen it all probably.
Yeah, definitely coming in first year, I was super nervous, but just the community was so welcoming. The faculty is just so great. You meet so many cool people, and there are so many opportunities, yeah, like getting involved with sports and extracurriculars, but yeah, don't be afraid to get involved. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Great, thanks. There's another question from Lillian, who's interested in hearing a bit more about the dance minor. Maybe Diane, can you say?
Sure, yeah, it's
dance?
a 4.0 minor, 4.0 courses, and it doesn't start until second year, and music students have absolute access to the dance courses because we offer them for the Faculty of Music. So it would be possible, depending on the program you're in, to do a dance minor. We've had some music students do that, or just to take dance courses.
And they just did a presentation last weekend, I think. I think they do one big special dance show. It's quite amazing, actually. If you look at Western's homepage on the Flickr account, there's some collages of photographs that are really quite stunning from the dance shows from previous years. So I'd encourage you to have a look at those, Lillian, if you are interested in dance.
I will
So what advice would you give?
I will point out that the dance minor is the only minor that our faculty offers that music students have access to. The other minors that were listed on the slideshow are for non-music students to take. So the dance minor is the lone exception.
And we might also add that you can do minors in other faculties. So you can add a minor in psychology or a minor in English, language and literature, or French studies. Those things are all possible. And if you're interested in that, when you come into first year, we would talk about that. You'd let me know, or Sasha know, when we're helping you choose your courses, and we'd make sure you chose the first year courses that you need for any admission to a minor if there's one required.
Yeah, so all incoming students come and visit us in the summer for summer academic orientation. We call it SAO. And a lot of times students will tell us about their aspirations for minors and different things. So that's where we would talk in depth with students at that time, kind of have a plan of attack. And that can change. Like you can have ideas in your mind right now. I want to do this program and I want to do a minor in that. And things could change by summertime. You could be at the end of your first year and think, well, maybe this isn't for me, or you just kind of maybe get exposed to a course or people taking a course that is of real interest to you. And you might change course, maybe change your minor out, or even your plan for which way you want to go with your Bachelor of Music program, or even BA. So there is some flexibility. You don't need to feel like you need to commit to the next 4 years of your life right now. There is some flexibility. So don't feel like you're making decisions you have to absolutely stick with for the rest of your life right at this moment. So there is flexibility.
So I think there's the advice to your first year self that I
Yeah.
think Lauren was hoping we kind of cover. So for Roma, Maitland, and Michael, if you have some idea of what you'd advise, that would be great.
Sure, I can give a little bit of advice. I think when you arrive at Western, it can kind of be like a little bit, especially if you're not from London, so you're living in residence, or if you do happen to be in one of the residences here, you can kind of, it can be a little overwhelming starting school, especially. So one thing that I found is important and can be kind of a little, you can be kind of unsure what's happening, but once you get kind of settled at school, you'll start getting added to our online kind of like learning platform is called OWL. I think it's Online Western Learning. I think that's what it stands for. And you'll see that your professors are adding you to classes. And I found it really helpful to just right off the bat, as they're coming in, read your syllabus, because it's so helpful before you go to your first class to kind of know what's going on. And it helps you feel a lot more prepared. And I think that can kind of ease the stress if you feel over, like I'm the kind of person that when I feel overwhelmed, it can be really comforting to kind of be like aware of my surroundings and know things. And then going into second semester, I think I did a better job than I did in first semester, because it can be kind of a hard adjustment. But just trying to create like good habits of, on this day I'm gonna do my reading, so that when I go to my lecture, I'll be able to kind of like get in a good habit, or especially for history, which is in first semester. I don't know if other profs do it a different way, but we had Gehring and he had it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, your quiz. So just getting in a habit, maybe every Sunday doing your reading or creating a schedule can be a really good way to kind of structure your time so that you have the extra flexibility to join and get involved. Like I found joining FOMSC so much fun because I got to meet so many cool music students that weren't in my year. So I don't take classes with them, but now I know people from upper year, which is super helpful and really fun. But that's just my little 2 cents. If Michael, you want to add some more?
No, I'd say pretty much I agree with everything you said. Definitely, I think the biggest thing is because you go to university, right? And you're suddenly presented with like just a lot of freedom. Like a lot of things are suddenly just on you. You don't really have people that remind you. So I think the one of the biggest things is just kind of like holding yourself accountable, having like a good schedule set up. Exactly like you said. Planning when you're going to do things, that kind of thing. Just so you don't get too overwhelmed and stuff doesn't pile up, because you don't have anyone there to kind of remind you to do things. So it's all on you. So you just gotta hold yourself accountable and do things on time.
I just wanted to add something onto that. I think definitely in first year, music being such a small faculty, it's so nice to have all the upper years to kind of turn to. I found like in my first year, I was in symphonic band and I had a section who was all older than me, and they provided me with so much help, and they were always there if I needed any help with assignments because they had been through the same or similar courses. So yeah, definitely lean on your friends and upper years because everyone will help you. Everyone wants to be a helping hand. And we also have peer guides, which is a program where upper years run sessions to kind of help first and second years with their theory and history. And I think the general integrated musicianship courses as well. So there's always help around if you need it. So definitely reaching out to upper years is another great tool.
Thanks, Maitland. Thanks to our students for all their sage advice. It's much appreciated. Lauren, I'll pass it back to you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Big thank you to all of you, our students and our presenters. I know if we were here in person, we would definitely be able to give you a huge round of applause for your assistance tonight. I know it's absolutely imperative to share the knowledge. And I also want to thank all of our participants for coming as well. I hope that you got the information that you needed, and you were able to ask the questions that you had. If you do happen to think of something that you'd like to ask us later, you can always find ways to connect with us at welcome.uwo.ca. I know Unibuddy was mentioned earlier, and that's a really great chat platform to have a quick conversation. So with that, good luck on your journey to university, and I want to wish all of you a very lovely rest of your evening.